This is the final speech. All right.
Okay, now turn it around and show yourself. Nelson Mandela once said, "Education is the most powerful weapon in which you can use to change the world." The children in our schools today are our future. They are our future presidents, congressmen, business owners. They are our future bosses, CEOs, and doctors. And one day, they will be in charge. But I fear that they are not being taught what they need to know in order to change the world. The United States is the greatest country in the world. Yet according to Sean Poland, the education correspondent with BBC.com, the U.S. isn't even in the top 12 rankings for science and math, according to the 2015 testing. Here we see where they ranked 14th in reading, 17th in science, and 25th in math. And this is a little old, it's from 2010, but that's still pretty shocking. We will be exploring what some of the problems are, the countries that came in at the top, and some ways that we can improve today's education system. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think of education is homework. From the time children start kindergarten, they have homework. According to Kelly Wallace with CNN News, children today have 3 times more homework than what is recommended. It is noted that elementary students, grades 1st through 6th, have up to 2 to 3 hours of homework in an evening. That takes away time from extracurricular activities, Girl Scouts, sports, whatever else the kids might be interested in. It also takes away from valuable family time, sitting down and eating dinner. And children today are also being taught in different ways, such as math, than what we were being taught when we were in school. Therefore, we cannot help our children with their math homework, and we end up having to hire tutors, but who can afford a tutor? They're pretty darn expensive. And studies have actually found that too much homework actually is detrimental to students' attitudes towards school. It causes them to be burnt out. The second thing that comes to my mind, which is the main thing when thinking of education, is testing. All the mandatory standardized testing. Lindsay Layton with Washington Post states that preschool through 12th grade preschool through 12th grade takes up to 112 mandated standardized tests throughout their entire education career. That equals out to be about 9 tests a year. Mandatory standardized testing takes the joy out of learning for the students and the joy out of teaching for the teachers. It can take from anywhere from 4 hours a year to 25 hours a year, and that's not even including test prep. And you also have to take into account all of the having to put the booklets together and the grading of the tests. This, I think, could have taken up to 4 hours per student. And they don't actually help on the NAEP tests. Here is a graph of testing time per student per year of the Eastern District. But here is, the blue is what's mandatory, what the state requires, and the green is what is actually happening. So some students are spending as many as 55 hours per year taking tests. Tests take away valuable learning time that could be spent teaching children things that they need to know. These are just a few of the main causes of the children feeling burnt out in the schools. Now I would like to tell you about the top 3 education systems in the world and what they are doing different, and discuss some ways to change what we are doing without changing everything we have come to know and love. Oh, I forgot about this. The U.S. ranked 25th in math and science, while the Asian countries have made it to the top 3. My favorite school system, which we will discuss towards the end, is Finland, who ranked number 6 according to FairReporters.com. According to FairReporters.com, South Korean students spend up to 7 days a week in class and have tons and tons of homework. And according to Olivia Murray with ThinkProgress.org, South Korea recently raised their education budget by 6%, making it $11 billion. $11 billion may not seem like much when we spend $80 billion. But if you think about the size of South Korea compared to the size of the United States, their budget is pretty large. The ones who came in number 2 is Japan. Japan focuses a lot on technology in their schools. They have computers for every student. That way the students can look up things that they may not know the answers to or gain new knowledge. They also expect all of their students to do extracurricular activities. They make them do chess or football, soccer, whatever the students are interested in. And number 3 came in Singapore. Singapore recently rebuilt their entire education system from scratch, and they focus more on deeper education than memorization. They also encourage students to learn things on their own, to problem solve on their own, so that way they actually learn the material and have very little help from the teachers. And as I said before, my favorite school system is Finland. They ranked number 6 and seems to do everything different than everybody else. In the last decade, Finland has been in a number 1 and number 3, and it seems that they are falling behind, but the other systems have changed their courses. Finland has shorter school days than the United States. They go to school for 5 hours, but then after school they have school-based activities, whether it be homework, health, or sports. They keep their kids pretty busy, and they believe that more learning comes from outside of the classroom. They also built their community around education. Their community really supports the education and really helps. The teachers there have doctorates. They are required to have doctorates to be able to teach, and they also get paid a lot more. There are also no mandatory standardized tests. As we see here, this is a New York student reaches high school. He or she will have taken 10 standardized tests. Collectively, U.S. students take 100 million standardized tests a year. Finland students only take 1 test when they are 16 years old. According to Linnell Hancock from Smithsonian Magazine, Timo Heikkinen, a Helsinki principal in Finland, stated, "If we tested as much as the United States, the teachers here would turn their shirts off." Timo also stated, "If you only measure statistics, you miss the human aspect." According to Linnell Hancock, it doesn't matter if you live in a rich community or a poor community. They fund their school systems the same, and they really focus on teaching their kids the same. And even the poor students in the poor communities end up with college degrees. One thing that they do really different is they have 15-minute recesses or breaks between each lesson, so that way the kids really have time to soak in what they've learned, and they have time to prepare for the next session. The students there don't start grade school until age 7. The Finlands believe that there is no rush to education because children will learn better when they are ready. Now I would like to look how some of these techniques may be able to help out our students over here. Obviously there will be no quick fix as our government is kind of broke right now, but I would like to propose a change in school hours. Maybe the students start at 9 and leave at 4. That way the students have a little bit more time to wake up before they start their classes. I would also like to propose less standardized testing, because this testing just stresses the kids out. And if they think that standardized testing really needs to happen for funding or whatever reason, maybe make it once a year, not equaling out to be 9 out of their whole education career. Cameron Branchley with homeroom.com, an official blog for the U.S. Department of Education, states, test preparation should not take excessive time away from classroom instruction. Great teaching, not test preparation, leads children to higher achievement. And I also believe that children learn a lot from play. I believe that we do need to have a 15-minute break between every lesson or section of class. Even if we have to have them do scavenger hunts, say they gather 50 rocks and divide them up into piles of 10 or 20, or it helps them to expand their minds, and it helps them to sink in what they have learned, just to be outside and not be sitting at a desk. We also need to have computers readily available for the students, especially for the urban children who do not have internet access at home and cannot look at extra resources. A lot of The smaller school systems will send iPads home with their children, so that way the children can look stuff up on their own and whatnot. And unfortunately, the bigger school systems do not. And it would be nice if they could send something similar home for them. I also think that half an hour of homework in the evening should be plenty. Students should be able to receive homework help at school if they need to, like say before school or after school, they could have a homework help class where the teachers could sit down with them and show them how to do it, especially if it's taught in ways that we don't understand. I believe that homework help would put a lot less stress on the parents and the children. And the teachers need to put in their input because, let's be honest, they know our children the best. And they know how they are going to learn the best. And also, I think teachers need to get paid more simply because they put in long hours. They do class preparation for assignments. They grade assignments. They're so much more busy. They work a lot of hours. Without a change to our education system, I fear the country could suffer economically for decades to come. One person alone cannot make a difference, but if we stand together, we can. Contacting the principals and the school board will not be enough. We need to start with the state. The Kansas Department of Education in Topeka is an excellent place to start. We could send emails and letters, maybe even contact the governor of Kansas and contact our congressman. And unfortunately, the changes will likely have to be one at a time. Our education system is broken and desperately needs to be restructured. Our children deserve the best education possible. And I hope this has raised awareness to how badly we need the change. We live in the greatest country in the world, and there is no reason our students shouldn't reflect that. William Butler Yeats once said, "Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire."
Good job.